StudyIQ IAS, अब तैयारी हुई अफोर्डेबल।
Hello, Namaskar, Namaskara, Namaskaram, Namaskar. My name is Pooja Devedi. Welcome to my class, The Daily Current Affairs, where we are going to learn significant events of the past 24 hours that are important from the perspective of the UPSC examination. The questions are all formulated on the lines of the prelims examination, but the information that is related to it will be beneficial for not only the prelims but also the mains examination and thereafter the interviews. Do not worry about making notes because I provide the notes through the form of PDF, and that is available on my Telegram channel by the name of Pooja Devedi UPSC. If you have any queries regarding this examination, you can talk to me on my Instagram, follow me on Threads. Now, these are the various events that we have to cover. A practice question was asked, but before that, let me inform you about the P2I batches for a brief time. P2I batches have been a success when it comes to enrollment. So we have launched another batch for the UPSC 2024 because of the demand. These will be morning batches. From 11 a.m. onwards, you will get your live classes. Not only that, you will get study material. Many coaching institutes differentiate between GS, CSAT, ethics, essay. StudyIQ doesn't. StudyIQ will provide you ethics, essay, CSAT, mock interviews. Everything will be integrated in the P2I batches. The classes will be on a regular basis. We also have a study campus program. If you're a student of the P2I batch, you qualify Prelims 2024 UPSCs, you will be called to the StudyIQ campus to study with us for the mains examination for 4 months without any extra charges. Make sure you use the code PDLive for English as well as Hindi batches. And the price will be just at rupees 29,999 if you use the code PDLive. Alright, it is applicable to other courses as well. Consider the following countries: Cuba, Taiwan, Colombia, Argentina. So how many of the above mentioned countries hold same-sex marriage as legal? Okay, I hope you know about it because UPSC can trick you with such kind of questions. As we speak, 34 countries around the world have legalized same-sex marriage. Do you know that Taiwan became the first Asian country to legalize same-sex marriage in 2019? Even Argentina was the first country in South America to do so. Colombia as well as Cuba, they all recognize same-sex marriages. So 1, 2, 3, 4, all 4 will be the correct answer. Recently, Hong Kong's top court has said that we cannot recognize same-sex marriage. Although at the same time, the top court has ordered the city to formulate rules regarding the same, formulate laws regarding the same within 2 years. And it's a partial victory for activist Jimmy Sham, who has been fighting for the rights of the gays, lesbians, bisexuals to have this privilege of marrying the one you love. He already had married in the USA. Now he wants the same activities to continue for Hong Kong as well. So, India's top court decriminalized homosexuality in 2018. However, we do not have any provision for same-sex marriages. Many activists believe that under the Special Marriage Act of 1954, we can solemnize the same-sex marriages. However, that is still sub judice. Now, there are certain countries, 34 countries, even South Africa is one of the countries that has legalized same-sex marriage. Many countries are there. You can see it in the PDF. I will give you certain very important and notifying cases of it. United States is the first country. It is the first country where a local jurisdiction knowingly gave a license for same-sex marriage in 1971. However, Canada is the first American country to do it, pan country. Also, there is another very important notable country, that is Netherlands, which was the first ever country in Europe to legalize same-sex marriage in 2001. Another important country is the country of Canada, as I already told you about it being the first American country to do so. Also, South Africa is the first African country to legalize same-sex marriage, that too in the year 2005. Not only that, but Taiwan is the first Asian country to legalize same-sex marriage in 2019. Argentina was the first South American country to do it in 2010. And also, there are 2 countries, however, that are believed to have or impose the death penalty for consensual same-sex relationship, that is Iran and Afghanistan. Alright, let's move ahead. With respect to the African Union, consider the following statements. It was officially launched in July 2002. in Durban, South Africa. Morocco is the only country that is not a member of the African Union. It is the successor to the Organization of African Unity. So what do we have to see? How many of them is or are correct? The African Union is set to become the new member or the newest member of the G20. However, it is not clear that will the G20 be called G21. I have already covered one class. Please go on the StudyIQ IAS English channel and watch that. It's going to be very beneficial for not only prelims but more so for mains examination, because a question is expected by the next of the year, if not this year, that African Union is becoming a part of the G20. What are the implications and why the African Union should be included? It was officially actually launched in July 2002 in Durban, South Africa. That is definitely correct, and it actually is the successor of Organization of African Unity that was formed in 1963. There are 55 countries right now. Although certain countries such as Sudan, Niger, Mali, Gabon, they remain suspended because of the coup that is going on. The first is correct, third is correct. Morocco has been one of these countries, the countries that had left the African Union, but now it has rejoined. So second is incorrect from that perspective. First is correct, third is correct, second is not correct. How many are correct? Two only will be the correct answer. I have already told you about this. It will be a historic moment if the African Union becomes a part of the G20. Under India's presidency, India has called for it many a times, the voice of the global south. However, formalization will be done by the next year under the presidency of the Brazil. Now, the African Union is a continental body that comprises of 55 African members. It was officially launched in 2002 as a successor of the Organization of African Unity. It is guided by a vision, and that vision is an integrated, prosperous and peaceful Africa, driven by its own citizens, representing a dynamic force in the global arena. There is Agenda 2063, which calls for greater collaboration and support for African-led initiatives to ensure achievement of the aspirations of African people. This is a brownie point you can write in your mains examination, that by the addition of the African Union in the G20, the Agenda 2063 of the African Union will get a boost. Moving on. Morocco rejoins Africa after 33 years. This is a news from 2017. Morocco left because of the issues with Western Sahara. Western Sahara is a disputed territory between certain countries, such as Mauritania, Morocco, Algeria. On that matter, it left, but it rejoined in 2017. With respect to the Autonomous District Council, consider the following statements. The 6th schedule under Article 245 provides for the formation of the Autonomous Administrative Division. It can have up to 30 members with a term of 5 years with no exceptions. That means there is no exception to this rule. So which of the statement given above are not correct? See, the 6th schedule is applicable to the states of Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura and Mizoram. These are scheduled areas. The rest of the states which are not covered in the 6th schedule are in the 5th schedule. So there are certain states which are tribally so dominated that they need their own council, and the 6th schedule has mandated for it through Article 244 and not 245. So these are the kind of questions where you can get tricked very well. You have read this much and you have read this much, you might think that this is correct, but no, it's actually Article 244. The first statement is incorrect. It can have up to 30 members with a term of 5 years with no exception. There is an exception, that is the Bodoland Council of Assam. It has more than 40 members and it can have jurisdiction over 39, approximately 39 matters. First is incorrect, second is also incorrect. Both 1 and 2 will be not correct because here it is written not correct, right? Let's move forward with the explanation. The Apex Court has set aside the entire election process initiated pursuant to the August 2nd notification, which was issued by the Ladakh administration for the elections of the Ladakh Autonomous Hill Development Council. A new notification is asked by the Supreme Court. The 6th schedule under Article 244 talks about formation of the Autonomous Administrative Division. That means these divisions can have administration legality over their own subjects, over certain subjects which are very different by the rest of the country. The customs are very different from the rest of the country. So that their diversity can be preserved, we have this provision. And this could be legislative, that means they can make laws, they can have judicial capacity, they can do trial, and administrative autonomy, they can impose certain laws. ADCs have up to 30 members with a term of 5 years to make laws, rules, and regulations regarding land, forest, water, agriculture, village council, health, sanitation, village and town level policing as well. Remember that, village and town level policing. What else the UPSC can do? UPSC can give us certain subjects and ask us which of the following or which of the above mentioned subjects are or can have jurisdiction of the autonomous district council. Then inheritance, marriage and divorce, social custom, and mining. All right. The Bodoland Territorial Council has more than 40 members, right to make laws on 39 issues. Assam, Meghalaya, and Mizoram have 3 councils, and Tripura has only 1 council. This is also a very good preliminary question that could be asked, so remember it. Okay. Assam, Meghalaya, Mizoram has 3 councils for different areas, and Tripura has only 1. With respect to the G20, consider the following statements. The G20 was initiated at the leader level in 1999. India's GDP percentage in the G20 is larger than Canada but lesser than Germany. There is only one ASEAN country that is represented in the G20. Let's talk about the correct answer or not. Yes, how many are not correct? The G20. During the Asian crisis, it was found out that globalization has its own negatives. That issue in one country, economic issue in one country, can spread over to different countries. So why not start an initiative at the finance minister and the governors of central bank level? And then in 1999, at that particular level, the G20 came into existence. Later on, it was found out that not only economic, but climate issues, agricultural issues, technology, artificial intelligence, and many other issues can be discussed at this forum. So let's elevate it to leader level. So in 2008, it got elevated to the leader level. UPSC loves getting you confused, so it will ask confusing questions. Remember, in 1999, it was not elevated. It did not start at the leader level. At the leader level, it got initiated or elevated only in the year 2008. So first statement because of that is incorrect. Okay, then India's GDP percentage is yes. It is larger than Canada, but a little less than Germany in the entire GDP, in the entire G20 scenario. Second is correct. Yes, there is only one ASEAN country by the name of Indonesia that is represented in the G20. All right, so let's go into that. First is incorrect. Second is correct. Third is correct. Not correct, we had to select. One only will be the correct answer because 2 are incorrect. There are 19 countries and 1 European Union. And now when African Union will join, we do not know if the nomenclature will change, but it is, it is being said that it wouldn't. So G20 comprises of countries from South America, such as Argentina. We have Australia. There is South American country Brazil, Canada, China, France, Mexico, Japan, Italy, Indonesia from ASEAN, Germany, India, Russia, Saudi Arabia, South Africa, South Korea, Turkey, UK, US, and EU. It comprises of 85% of the GDP of the world and 2/3 of the population of the earth, 75% of the trade. So it's a very powerful summit. Right now, India is holding the presidency. Next year, Brazil will hold. And after that, we will have South Africa. The era of the global south, IPSA, IBSA. Okay, let's move on. So as you can see, this particular diagram has shown us the biggest GDP contributor in the G20 is United States. Then we have China. Then we have countries, we have the regional bloc, European Union. We have Japan, Germany, 4.07%. India is at 3.39%. It is greater than Canada, which is 2.14%, and lesser than Germany. All right. So as you can see, these kind of questions can also be formulated. Consider the following countries: Georgia, Romania, Moldova, Bulgaria. How many of the above countries share a border with the Black Sea? We will need a map. But India may definitely talk about the Black Sea Grain Initiative. It may turn the tables because Black Sea Grain Initiative has been a wartime treaty and it was about to be very successful if Russia did not withdraw. So that is why it is important. Black Sea Grain Initiative, Russia has agreed to extend an agreement that allows, this was last year's news, to ship grain through the Black Sea. According to UN, more than 30 million tons of grain has been exported since this was brokered. But later on, last year's news, as in this was a treaty of last year, and by this year it would have completed 1 year successfully before Russia withdrew. What was this particular treaty? This particular treaty provided a corridor. This is the corridor, so that whatever agricultural produce would be there, it could be transported from certain ports of Ukraine, Yuzhny, Chornomorsk, Odessa to Istanbul. And this corridor would be free of any sort of attacks, and these ports would be free of any sort of attacks because of the war. But when Russia withdrew, different ports were struck. So Black Sea Grain Initiative became a failure after that. And again we are trying to revive it so that food shortages do not occur. All right, I hope you agreed. I hope you understood. So Black Sea, this is the sea that we asked the question about. It is bordered by Turkey, Georgia, Russia, Ukraine, Romania, Bulgaria. All right. So which country did not find? Let's see. Georgia is correct, Romania is correct, Bulgaria is correct, but not Moldova. 1, 2 and 4 will be the correct answer, as in 3 only will be the correct answer. Let's move ahead to the next question. Consider the following with respect to the World Bank's G20 Global Partnership for Financial Inclusion document. The JAM Trinity, Jan Dhan Aadhaar Mobile, has propelled India's financial inclusion rate from 25% in 2008 to over 80% of adults within the past 6 years. This journey was shortened by up to 100 years. The digital public infrastructure in India, however, hasn't improved efficiency for private organization. We have to understand these three according to the report. So how many are correct we have to see. Okay. Jan Dhan Aadhaar Mobile, which provides inclusivity in terms of bank accounts, Aadhaar identification for direct benefit transfer, and mobile, that means digital inclusiveness through your smartphones. This has proved to be game-changing for India as a digital public infrastructure. The infrastructure for the public to use in the digital format. It is just like physical but in digital format. So, the JAM Trinity has actually propelled India's financial inclusion rate from 25% in 2008 to now 80% in just 6 years, and this journey was shortened by up to 47 years, not 100 years. What a remarkable outreach. What a remarkable success for the people of India and the current government. And the digital public infrastructure in India has proved to be very efficient for the private sector. UPSC loves to put certain things like this. First is correct, second is not correct, third is not correct, one only will be the correct answer. In just 6 years, World Bank praises India's digital public infrastructure. Now, India's remarkable achievement in just 6 years for certain initiatives, UPI, Jan Dhan Aadhaar, ONDC and the CoWIN app. It has been praised by the World Bank at the world level. So, this particular document has come because of the India's G20 presidency. It is telling us about the significance of JAM. I have already told you about it. The World Bank estimates that this journey was shortened by up to 47 years thanks to the digital public infrastructure. The Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, which came into existence in 2014, since the beginning, the accounts have tripled from 147.2 million in March 2015 to 462 million by June 2022. Here, women own 56% of the accounts, and that is totaling more than 260 million. Moving on. The Central Empowered Committee, which was the green watchdog of the Supreme Court, has been recently handed over to the Ministry of Environment. It was established in which year? That means it will now report to the Environment Ministry, will not report to the Supreme Court. So we will have to understand we will have to answer which year it was established in. Alright, tell me about it and I will take the names in the next class. Let me take the names of those students who have answered my last question correctly. D was the correct answer. That was all 4. Simran has answered it correctly. Priyadarshan, Riya, thank you so much. Sukant, Raj Tiwari, Padmashri, Pranjul, then Robinson, Mandeep, very good. Harshit Maurya, Mallinath, Ritu Singh, Komal, Nandak, Omkar, Abhishek, Manish, Mohammed, Utkal, Mukul, Sanjay, very good. Gaurangi, you have also written information, really good. Mansi, then yes, thank you so much. And yes, there is a question about ASEAN Summit. You didn't understand the question. Hobo 733. I'm addressing this query. ASEAN Summit is different. India ASEAN Summit is different. And East Asia Summit is different. All three were held recently in Jakarta. ASEAN was established by the Bangkok Declaration in 1967. India ASEAN Summit started in 2002. And if we talk about the East Asia Summit, it started in 2005. That is why there is confusion. We talked about India ASEAN Summit and not ASEAN Summit. All right. To answer this question as well, I will take your names in the upcoming segment. Thank you so much.
StudyIQ IAS. अब तैयारी हुई अफोर्डेबल।